Hello again. This is Samari Bronte, and this page is dedicated to prophetic words. Now it came to pass on my Mighty's Network. If you join the Mighty Network, you will get an alert every time that I post a new prophetic word. I'm not going to say new because I am literally just taking all the prophetic words, dreams, and revelations that I've had since 2016 and 20 and putting them out in public. It's very time consuming. It's very tiring. But I'm going to do it because that's what I'm supposed to do. So today I am going to go over and read the prophecy and the interpretation of the dream that I had this April on the 20th of 2022. And I titled it, I Saw Great Possessions in the Earth. So I'm riding in a vehicle, but it's not like an earthly vehicle. It seems kind of like a hovercraft of sorts, and it's kind of hovering on the highway. So I'm, hovering down the highway, and a friend of mine is in the car with me. And we're riding down this highway in the evening time as the sun is almost set, and the highway lights start to come on to, brighten the road. And then suddenly I see a massive amount of impure spirits come up from the ground. It's so many, I'm seeing like hundreds and thousands of them, and they start to go into people, some more than others. In a sense, some people maybe have two going to, some people have five going to, some people only have one of the spirits going to them, but it's a massive possession of the people of earth from these unclean spirits. And while I'm seeing all this and I'm driving, I see that my friend who's sitting with me, one of the spirits go into her. So immediately I start to pray over her. And while I'm praying over her, I grab her chest like this and I pull it out and I send the spirit back to wherever it came from. So after this, the dream transitions and I'm walking with my friend and I'm just excited. I'm walking with her, but where we're going is we are in we're in heaven, basically. We are in the heavenly realms. And I take her to one of the rooms that are in heaven, in the heavens temple. And I walk in, I'm excited, and I see people, I see women like kneeling and praying and singing praises to the Most High Yah, and it's really beautiful. And I go in, I kind of interrupt everything. I'm just like, y'all, guess what happened? And I'm telling them this testimony of her being delivered from this unclean spirit, and how I'm just in awe of what Yahuwah is doing in his servants, that even though there is mass wickedness and chaos going on where people are becoming more susceptible to wickedness and evil spirits, there is an increase in the power that he has given to his servants to do his work and his will. And that was the dream. And so here is the interpretation of the dream. So people are now the most open to all types of possessions. This generation and era of people are so far removed from the covering and protection of Yahuwah because they live, thrive, and stay in their sins. The heart of man are so wicked that they practically invite these possessions by their actions in the way that they treat others, themselves, and what they do to their bodies and what they do with their bodies. The prayer that no weapon formed against me shall prosper does not apply when you are the one opening up your vessel, house, and home to demonic spirits to take space in you. Your rebellion of not heeding the word of the Most High, mixed with the dangerous lie that just believing in this Messiah with no character or spiritual change makes your worship and prayer amount to nothing. You are a city without walls. Again, but there is a remnant of people who will be able to save some of these people from the wicked possessions as they increase. They will be the intercessors who go before the throne of grace on behalf of others, trapped and tormented by these unclean, defiled spirits. The remnant of servants who move and live like Yahushua, our Messiah, our King, they will heal and deliver all kinds of afflictions in the name and the glory of the King. They will be keepers of Yah's word and keep the testimony of the Messiah. So there are many believers, many Christians, many of those in the Hebrew roots walking. It doesn't matter if you're a believer. I don't care what you title yourself. Many believers are walking breaches. You are walking entry points for the enemy to come in. You're vulnerable, and there's cracks and holes in your faith and in your foundation. As a unit, the body of believers is like a feather in the wind because you have no anchor in the truth, because you do not love the word of truth. This makes people perfect hosts for spiritual attacks and possessions. You either have no knowledge of what sin is and how to flee and be free from it, or you know, but just don't care to close up the breaches in your life, i.e., being part of the rebellious generation. And so I put a couple scriptures in here where Samuel went to King Saul, told him about himself, but this applies to us as well. Rebellion is as sinful as witchcraft, and arrogance as bad as worshiping idols. So because you have rejected the commands of Yahuwah, he has rejected you as king. Or in other words, because you reject the commands of Yahuwah, the Most High will reject you as being any part of royalty, any part of a kingdom citizen, any part of being an heir to the kingdom of the Most High. And then Proverbs 28:9, he that turns away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be abomination. Whoever leads the upright along an evil path will fall into their own trap, but the blameless will receive a good inheritance. So many of you are probably thinking like, okay, possessions. And a lot of us think possessions are like in these horror movies, where an evil spirit comes into someone and, you know, their neck is turning all crazy, their eyes going back of their head, they're crawling up the wall, and they're doing all kinds of freak things. That can happen. But because we think possessions are that, we don't see that there are possessions happening every day. A possession is literally just you allowing a spirit that is not of the Most High to take place and root in you and causes you to act outside of the will of the Most High. That is a possession. So the spirit of fornication, you could be possessed with the spirit of fornication. It is a spirit. It has inhabited many people. I have been inhabited by the spirit of fornication to the point where it's just like, I just don't know why I can't control or why I feel the need to have sex. That spirit has dominion over you in that area of your life. That is what possession is. The spirit of fighting, the spirit of lying, all these things. If you always have an angry spirit where you're always at contention with people, you're always starting arguments, you are possessed by the spirit of fighting. So we have to stop looking at it the way Hollywood shows us what possessions are and look at it spiritually. And so a possession is just when you walk in error and in sin without repentance, and when you walk in ignorance. So a lot of people are possessed and they don't even know that they are possessed because they are ignorant to the devices of Satan. And so really error or sin is to be deceived, to mislead, to be careless, to be unmindful and loose, a lawbreaker. And so all sin and possessions flow from the following 7 spirits that I'm about to list. All these spirits have subcategories that go on and on like a web. However, these 7 are the heads of all spiritual chaos. And I really I really hope that I'm going to put the link in here too. I really heed you guys to go and read the testimony of the 12 patriarchs. First one out the gate, the book of Reuben, the first son of Israel or Jacob. He goes into deep detail on how these spirits attack you in your youth and how they make a nest and a home with you. And they just lead men into the pit of hell. And so after reading this, after the Most High revealed this to me, and I'm reading this and I'm studying this, the way that I took on spiritual warfare literally opened up to the point where it made everything so much easier in a sense of not struggling with sin anymore because I know what it is, how to call it out, and what it looks like. But a lot of us, we don't have that information. We don't know, and it's not shown to us, and it's not talked about. So, the 7 spirits of error. First one, the spirit of fornication is the first one, and it attacks in your youth. And it's seated in, your carnal nature and in the senses. The second one is the spirit of insatiability, or never being satisfied. But that spirit can look like gluttony. That spirit can look like, if it's mixed with the spirit of fornication, your insatiable desire to never have enough sex, being a sex addict, those are spiritual possessions. You are possessed by the spirit of insatiability, and the spirit of fornication have now joined forces to use your body as a vessel against the spirit, because the flesh and the spirit are constantly at head. They will never agree. The spirit of fighting, I've talked about, that strife, that's quarreling, that's, just always trying to pick a fight. That could look like an attitude. That could be the spirit of fighting. You always are the spirit of lying mixed with the spirit of fighting, because you always think someone's talking about you. So you always got to pop off because you always want to fight. The spirit of trickery or dishonesty through self-importance and ego, to make yourself seem like better than what you really are, in a sense. So basically, like, you just boost yourself. You talk about things that you're doing, you've done, to make yourself feel good and to make other people think you are super important. The spirit of pride, that one may be boastful, haughty, and arrogant. So the love of display, of feeling deep pleasure for your own achievements and also for the achievements of others. You can have pride in somebody else. You can have pride in people, organizations, assemblies, churches, all of that. That's all part of the spirit of pride. And the spirit of lying and jealousy and practicing deceit and keeping secrets from kindred people and your family and your friends. And then there's a spirit of injustice, which is it's kind of like the puppet master. The spirit of injustice is kind of like here. And the other 6 spirits of error are under injustice. And injustice like picks pieces from each one of the 6, and it uses it as like this overarching spiritual bondage that keeps you in a state of sin. So yeah, it works together with the other spirits, and it takes your gifts. So if you have the gift of prophecy, right, but you are not walking according to the Most High's ways, the spirit of injustice will now use you to use that gift for Satan's kingdom. So now you're practicing divination, you're practicing astrology, you're practicing talking to mediums and spirits, and you're doing everything outside the word of the Most High. And you are getting this information from these other spirits, but these other spirits are also deceitful spirits. So they're never going to tell you that, oh yeah, girl, you're doing this, or oh yes, sir, you're doing all of this. But at the end of all of this, you're going to have to pay a price. They're never going to tell you that. But that looks like the spirit of injustice. It takes on your gifts. It's the spirit of covetousness. It's a spirit in which a lot of these nations are built on, because it's just straight wickedness. And so I'm telling you all this so we can understand the root of sin. And like I told you before, understand, for me, I was like, why, even with your dreams? So if these unclean spirits come to you at night, they give you fantasies in your head. So that's us, talking about having intimate dreams. You're not married, you're single. Or if you are married and you have dreams about somebody else, these unclean spirits don't play fair, right? So they come to you in your sleep, because the sleep realm is where, all the spirits meet. And if your spirit man ain't built like that, then this is where they have free range. They can plant a thought in your mind. They can give you a dream. They can give you a vision of you doing something sinful. So when you wake up, now you ponder on that, you think about that, you're just like, maybe I should kind of call this person and see, what's going on over there. And so you start to, and it just snowballs effect. And it's like, okay, we couldn't get her in the physical, we couldn't get her to commit that act physically yet. But we put that thought, that spirit of fornication in her mind, in her sleep, in her dream realm, she's gonna wake up. And then that thought will turn into eventually you falling into that sin. That's what happened with me. I was celibate for almost 7 years. And I thought I had a handle on it. But then, the thought, the dreams, and then not living perfectly righteous. I'm not like no one's perfectly righteous, but being a lukewarm Christian, basically, that's what I was. And eventually, over the course of a year and some months, I finally gave in, and it was so unexpected that it took me by shock. And I was like, "How did this happen?" It's because the devil will play the very long game with you. He will play the long game with you. A little bit here, a little bit there, that person over there, that person over here, that whisper over here, that movie you just watched, that song you was listening to. Long game. Because you didn't have on your full armor. You did not block none of the fiery darts. You just welcomed all the fiery darts into your life. And then you're surprised when you commit the act of sin. And so this is just a warning that there are dark times coming to the earth, very dark times that are coming to the earth, where we are going to see so many people possessed, so many people consumed in their sins. There's going to be an increase of mental illnesses, depression, schizophrenia, multiple personality disorders. All these are possessions, deep rooted possessions of people's temples. And so let us take this word, let us take this information. He said that his word shall be our knowledge amongst the nations. But we don't want to accept his word, so we don't have any knowledge. So I pray that you all get in your word, get on your knees, get in your prayer closet, ask the Father to show me the error of my ways, show me the spirits that I am struggling with, show me the things that I need to battle and conquer. Give me your strength because I am weak. We have to ask these things. We also have to ask them with an open and contrite heart to hear the things that we might not want to hear about ourselves. And that is true repentance. That is truly wanting to be cleaned with hyssop in the spirit of the Most High through the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. But if you don't want to hear the areas in your lives where you are in error, if you don't want to hear the harsh things that you're going to have to let go of this person, that group, that association, that fraternity, that sorority, this holiday, that holiday, if you don't want to let go of those things and you are going to try to justify why it's okay for you to not listen to that part of the Most High's word, then he is not going to be able to show you and tell you all the things because he already knows your heart, that it's deceitfully wicked and that you want to hold on to your idols. So let us get to the point of laying bare before the Most High and saying, whatever it is, show me because I want to get it out because I just want to please you. Until we get to that point, you are always going to struggle with sin. You are always going to struggle with spiritual possessions. You have to humble yourself. And it's easier said than done. It's a lot of tears. It's a lot of crying. It's a lot of, Father, I didn't know. Father, I'm so sorry. How could I be so ignorant? How did I not know these things? But he's just like, it's okay, my child. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. And you're going to be so much stronger. You're going to be so much closer to me in this. And that's my testimony. So I pray you hear these words. I pray you be hearers and doers of his word and not just hearers who are vain worshipers, but truly honor and worship our Father in spirit and in truth.